Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to me, at least, back to YouTube. Finally doing another one of these news videos that I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting for. I don't think I've done one since last, Friday, and it's now Tuesday, February 6th. So I'm back on the work schedule, even though I'm on vacation now. So the reason that I took a few days off is to finish up a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes. I finished up the Secret Space Program webinar on Saturday. That was a great success. And then yesterday I actually traveled. I left Denver and now I'm somewhere in the state of Florida visiting some good friends of mine. So I'll be doing more videos showing you guys where I'm at and what I've been up to, but I needed a few days off. And I know it was around the release of the memo, but honestly, I'm not saying the memo wasn't big news. I'm not saying it's not extremely important to everything that's going on right now, but it wasn't that big to me, right? It wasn't anything that blew my mind or that I wasn't expecting. So I didn't feel the need to overcome the rest I needed with doing a report on the memo, you see, but I will be releasing a lot more videos this week and next, and also a video on my thoughts on the memo probably later today. But anyway, let's get into discussing some of the news that is going on. So of course, we had the memo come out on Friday, right? And now the other side of the aisle, I never like to use that two-party paradigm or get caught in that divide and conquer strategy. But the left side of the Democrats are going to be coming out with their own memo. And the House Intelligence Committee unanimously voted to release this memo, which, on one hand, a lot of people are going to be saying, why do that? Why do that? But that needs to happen, right? In all fairness, if the House Intelligence Committee did not release this Democratic memo, then it just obviously looks bad on them, right? So they're going to need to be releasing this memo. But here's the thing. I'm going to expound my thoughts on the memo in an upcoming video. But what this memo essentially is the beginning of the data dumps. Data dumps by the white hats or by call them military alliance people that we've been waiting for a long, long time. And with that first memo being released, what's going to now happen is it's going to have to continuously come out. Because if these white hats were to pause, or say release this memo and then take a step back and don't release anything else, the deep state people are just going to continuously come out with their propaganda, with their lies, and start brainwashing the people and get them to not, confuse them far too much. So in this piece of news by Fox News, Nunes sets sights on the State Department, saying the FISA memo is only phase 1. So we already have a second memo going to come out against the State Department. I'm assuming over the same FISA wiretapping issues and whatnot, but now the State Department is going to have eyes on them. And not only that, but check this out. The House Intel Committee could drop 5 more memos exposing politically motivated abuses by the FBI and DOJ. So this memo is just the first piece, and we're going to have to see continuous memos come out by the House Intel Committee. I believe the Senate Judiciary Committee is also working on a memo against the FBI and DOJ. So we're going to keep seeing these come out, and the snowball is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And these memos are going to have to, and I'm just saying now, they're going to have to start getting bigger, right? They can't just stick at memos. They're going to have to start getting into thicker reports, and also into, of course, video and photographic evidence if we're going to start seeing the deeper crimes come out than we want. Because let's be real, if this only sticks to memos, we're going to need at least 100,000 memos to expose everything the deep state has done over the past, 60, 70, 80 years, right? So my point being, we're going to start seeing a lot more memos come out, and then, of course, heavier evidence, heavier exposés. And then, of course, along the lines of stuff continuously rolling, Trump attorneys are approving a second special counsel to probe the FBI and DOJ. So this is seriously heating up now, guys. And that's kind of why I wanted to take a couple days off. I wanted to see, with that memo dropping, how it's going to expand from there, because I didn't want to jump the gun on any kind of reporting and say some silly things or speculate too much. I wanted to see what unfolded, and it looks like some great things are definitely unfolding. So again, Trump attorneys approving a second special counsel to probe FBI and DOJ. And I wonder, remember, Trey Gowdy leaving politics to get back into the justice system. Lots of speculation going on as to what Trey Gowdy's position is going to be. So we're all wondering if he is going to head second special counsel, right? Kind of special prosecutor. That would be neat, in my opinion. So now let's talk about a few of these new Q posts. Let's just run through them real quick here. I'm sure many of you have read them. I know some of these news stories you probably have already seen, because I haven't done one of these in a while, and there's plenty of other awesome alternative media YouTube reporters out there who, I mean, honestly, politics isn't really my game. It's kind of another reason why I took a step back, is that politics, I do stick my head in because I like doing these reports for a lot of you to catch you up to speed and help you understand. But even, I mean, politics isn't my forte. I've been above and beyond that two-party paradigm for so long that I haven't even focused on politics. It's only really recently that I've actually looked into the specific names on the committees and Congress and whatnot. You know, my head's always up in the clouds with the secret space program stuff, where I'm really focused on health. Just politics isn't normally my thing. So you got to understand that as well. I know a lot of you have been waiting for these videos, what's going on in politics and all that, but it's just not, you know, it's not my most passionate subject. But anyway, let's get into reading some of these Q posts. So this one here, let's just go back to yesterday. So there's been a rash of them since yesterday. This one here saying, would POTUS make a serious accusation if the truth wasn't about to come to light? Now let's check out the president's tweet. He says, little Adam Schiff, talking some shit about Schiff, and then he puts these names out there: Comey, Warner, Brennan, and Clapper, former FBI director, 2 former CIA directors. And in light of this line right here, would he be putting those names out in the open if there wasn't some serious shit about to come down on them? That's huge right there. So I mean, look at these names: Brennan, Clapper. We'll talk about Brennan in a minute here, but that's big news. And then Q says blunt statement. There's a few theories I'm seeing circulate around. None I'm too sure on. None I'm getting too many hits on quite yet. Intuitive hits. So nothing I want to report by way of blunt statement. But then there's this line we'll go through, this post. Why did the memo drop on a Friday before the Super Bowl? I mean, lots of reasons why that could be. Maybe all the families gathered together for the Super Bowl would have the memo to talk about, right? Watch the news. Rothschild estate sale, Black Forest, the Black Forest in Austria. You know, synchronistically enough, I just did the Secret Space Program webinar, right? And I was doing some reporting on Victor Schauberger, and come to find out, Victor Schauberger, who was a free energy anti-gravity researcher back in the 30s for the Germans, or he was essentially forced to do it for the Germans. He was born in the Black Forest. So it was interesting. I was going along with stuff. I'm like, oh, Black Forest, Q's been posting about that. Stock market dive, 666. Is that a coincidence? Now let's talk about that. So I'm just going to jump over to this article here discussing how the Dow plunged 666 points right after the memo was released. That wasn't a coincidence. That wasn't a mistake. That specifically went down 666 points as a message, right? It's quite obvious who controls the financial markets: the big banksters, the gang banksters. So yes, that was a message, quite obviously. Soros, transfer of wealth, Hilton, Rothschild, Soros, Clinton, marriage for power, not love. And this was interesting. So it was Nikki Hilton that was married to a Rothschild. And let's see, lots of other 2020 coming. Interesting. Very interesting. So with that line, 2020 essentially referencing full vision. So with Q in the past saying that we're only going to get, 40% of stuff known, went from 80-20 to 60-40. Is it soon going to be 100%? Are we going to see a full disclosure? I sure hope so, but let's be real. I mean, a lot of this stuff I'm seeing in the Q posts, it's a massive disclosure, but it's not everything. There's still a few things that we're not seeing in these Q posts, but I do hope that we will, right? A lot of pharmaceutical corruption, a lot of what's going on in the space programs, things like that. Those are things we're not seeing in the Q posts, which I understand why, because Q is hitting a very specific market, very specific niche with these posts right now. So, but I'm sure soon we'll start seeing full disclosures come out. And I like this question. Can we simply arrest the opposition without first exposing the truth? It's difficult one there. Like we were talking about, signal 666, signal to the president that they control the market. Welcome to the global war. Absolutely. And right here, let's go through this. Let's see here. This is Q post in reference to somebody posting a Think Progress article. Think Progress, of course, is owned by John Podesta, if you didn't know that. So don't believe anything they say. And then Q is going off on that. How do you retain freedom of the press if those in front of the camera are extensions of the arm? We don't have a free press. Of course, all of our press lies to us these days. And Q then posts, or at least references, these here, center. Boom. And you can go check out those pictures. I don't want to be wasting too much time going through all these. So anyway, things are definitely picking up by way of Q, dropping lots of stuff. And then dropping this link to one Carl Gattas, who is the Executive Assistant Director of the National Security Branch. I haven't read too much into him quite yet. I just found that Q posted this link this morning. But was this Comey's assistant that went to work at, let's see here. No. But anyway, let's get into discussing that. So let's get into talking about a little bit of the fake news, of course. Fake news meets Obamagate. Comey assistant leaves the FBI for CNN. And check this one here. This is the one. News directly from the CIA. Ex-director Brennan hired by NBC. Remember Brennan being discussed in the president's tweets? Well, we have people from the CIA, bad actors from the FBI going directly to the media corporation. So these are all the bad actors. These are all the ones that probably have dirt on them that, of course, that are in the swamp, that are in the deep state. So they're going, seriously going into cover your ass mode. You see, they're all leaving their posts in 3-letter agencies and going to work for the Mockingbird media. And then, of course, we have, let's get past this crap here from USA Today. We have Newsweek, more upheaval there. So some top editors fired amid their investigation. Remember a few weeks ago, they had their servers literally carried out of their offices by federal agents. And then last week, there was a few people fired from Newsweek, I believe their marketing director. And now top editors are fired. So that's great. It's great that we're seeing some cleansing go on of these media organizations. Now we need CNN and NBC to be to undergo the same stuff. We already talked about the Dow sinking 666 points just yesterday on Monday, February 5th. The Dow sunk almost 1,200 points. So I'm sure that was, again, not an accident. It was probably sunk heavily on Friday when the memo released, and then when the stock market opened back up this Monday, they sunk it again. So they're really trying to, of course, hit the white hats or hit the alliance, combat in any way, shape, or form they can. Now let's move on to the feds arresting an Arizona man for selling armor-piercing ammo to the Las Vegas shooter. So we reported on this last week how there was a second person of interest identified in the Las Vegas massacre, and this second person of interest also had a top secret Department of Defense clearance. Well, they arrested him, and his name was Douglas Haig. He was a 55-year-old who was selling very dangerous ammunition, specialized military ammo across the country in all sorts of states all across the West. And he also sold to one Stephen Paddock. Remember, guys, this guy had a top secret DoD clearance. So all these guys are, it's the narrative is unraveling more and more behind this Las Vegas shooting. So it just amazes me how people still haven't connected the dots to it. I mean, literally, even the HuffPost, I'm getting this article from the HuffPost, how the feds are arresting an Arizona man for selling armor-piercing ammo to the Las Vegas shooter. But of course, in this article, they don't say anything about his top secret DoD clearance. We got to go to Zero Hedge to get that. So that's how the mainstream media does their psyops. Not just the mainstream media, but even in the alternative media, that's how they do their psyops, is they leave out very specific pieces of information, then you get a whole different perspective, a whole different narrative on things. And then last few things I want to share with you guys here, and then I'll sign off this video and upload it. Can't exactly be doing live videos where I'm at right now. But now let's talk about some Pentagon missing money and some secret space stuff. So big part of the last webinar that I did a couple days ago was missing money from the Department of Defense. Now, of course, this year we're having the very first audit ever done of the Pentagon, and we're continuously seeing little things seeded out to the public about all this missing money. So we have an agency, the Defense Logistics Agency within the Pentagon. They account for almost $1 billion. Now, of course, that's a drop in the bucket compared to the $22 trillion that's missing from the Pentagon. But again, we're seeing bit by bit come out, bit by bit. It's all preparing us, getting people to understand how much money has literally been stolen from the public and has gone into these unacknowledged programs. So, I mean, a lot of people in the article here, it's discussing the Trump administration set to ask Congress for $700 billion in defense spending, a 7% increase. What if this asking for more money is simply an excuse for them to say, hey, if we're going to be investing all this money into the military, let's do an audit to see where it goes. It's a very good excuse for an audit right there. And so, on a superficial level, putting all this money into the military might seem, oh, it's crazy. It's, feeding the military industrial complex, feeding the deep state, yada, yada. What if it's not? What if he's putting more money into the military so it goes into alliance hands? They can develop the projects, bring their projects public and the technology associated with that, but also using it as an excuse to audit, right? So anyway, this is good news. We're seeing more money that can't be accounted for. And also, speaking of technologies associated with the black projects, what about this right here? So Boeing is planning a warplane that could circle the world in 1 to 3 hours. It's been announced. And they're calling it the Son of Blackbird. So remember the SR-71 Blackbird, which was a aircraft not a spacecraft, an aircraft in the 70s that could go very, very fast. Fastest official aircraft that's ever been made. They're conceptualizing Boeing is an SR-72. So the Son of Blackbird. And they're saying it can go extremely fast, 1 to 3 hours. Boeing is designing it along with Lockheed. Lockheed is coming public saying that they have some very fast hypersonic craft. But here's the thing. Look into, I'm just going to give you a key word here, Project Aurora. Project Aurora is said to have existed for decades and already have hypersonic aircraft, and not only a hypersonic aircraft, but anti-gravity technologies in this project. I've mentioned the TR-3B Black Triangle, and that's said to be one of multiple top secret craft that have been built in this Aurora program. And of course, in unacknowledged, highly classified Air Force and Navy programs, there's technology that could blow this hypersonic plane out of the water, that can go, out into space and from planet to planet. So what we're seeing from Boeing here is simply they're pushing out a little bit more, seeding our consciousness. But then, of course, there's the idea of partial disclosure. Are they going to tell us that the military-industrial complex has had these technologies for decades now, right? We're having a little bit more seeding of the consciousness here. On futurism.com, they're saying for the first time ever, scientists found alien worlds in another galaxy. And also over the weekend, we had more science reports saying that new data showing the TRAPPIST-1 planets are more habitable than we ever thought. Again, guys, more seeding of our consciousness. But here's the thing to be aware of. I always reiterate this in my videos. Are they going to tell us these little truths and try to hide the rest? Or are they going to tell us that, well, civilizations on our planet have been contacted by non-terrestrial civilizations for millennia, right? We've had technology located in black projects for decades that can already control gravity. That's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on those big truths to come out. That's what'll start exciting me. Yes, these memos are awesome, right? But it's not anything we couldn't already speculate. And yeah, it's just duh, right? I'm waiting for these big truths to come out. So anyway, that's all I wanted to show you guys here. We got a lot more memos coming out. They're going to have to drown out these ass covering measures here. We've got new potential new second special councils. We've got media organizations falling at the same time. They're filling themselves with X three-letter agency guys. And then, of course, information slowly coming out about missing Pentagon money and advanced technology. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. I'll be back more with a lot more videos this week. Thank you all for watching. Take care.